These attacks run at all levels of the system, and in reality, we're always in catch-up mode. We're always trying to put patches into the OS or even into the kernel to try and stop the efforts of the people writing the malware. And it's a bit of a losing battle. To make matters worse, all the peripherals in the PC are completely untrusted and openly accessible. It's easy to attack at the keyboard. It's easy to intercept what is happening between the keyboard and the display and siphon off some of the data. And so I'm sorry to say it, whatever people tell you, the reality today is that there is no such thing as secure browsing. It's close, but it's not secure. And for the world in which we're moving, that is not good enough, because the world in which we're moving to requires more security. We are starting to rely more and more on our handsets, not just for personal data, not just for our keys and passwords, but also for transactions, for downloading secure content, for paying for secure content, and enabling that content to be downloaded in a secure way onto our handsets. That is all happening. That's what we're all expecting to happen. So security has to improve. So to do that, we believe fundamentally you have to build a hardware root of trust. And so in this diagram here, on the left-hand side is the open OS and the open applications, rather like we're used to in the PC world. But this has to be complemented, in our view, by this hardware trusted environment. And the firewall between those two is what TrustZone technology enables. So fundamentally, with this architecture, we end up with a secure hardware base. On top of that, we can build secure systems with secure OS boot, which is one of the weakest points in most systems. And once you have secure boot, then you can build secure services on top of this platform. ARM TrustZone technology has been around for some time, ever since ARM 11 actually. But companies have not wanted to build this complete system into the SoCs. But I'm pleased to say that that's starting to change quite rapidly, and we're starting to see SoCs on the market now that have this architecture, and we're starting to work with companies to build on that architecture, to build secure services. And I think this is quite an exciting development going forward. Many of you are building ARM SoCs, and the nice thing about the ARM technology is that it enables you to build the SoCs you want. It enables you to put your own peripherals on. It enables you to target that technology at whatever you want. But in addition to the fundamental ARM architecture, there are a whole range of extensions and options. And some of these extensions and options don't add much value. But if you do it all differently, it makes porting software onto these systems a nightmare. And so ARM has this dilemma, to be honest. We don't want to tell you and prescribe what systems you must build, because we want you to have that flexibility. But on the other hand, we can see many places where that flexibility does not add any value to what you're doing, and it simply slows down software development. And so we have started to create what we call platform description documents. And these are recommendations for how you should build your system. They're not mandatory, but if you follow these description documents, it will make software porting easier, quicker, and cheaper. So we started talking about this 18 months ago, and over the last year, we have brought out 6 of these platform description documents. There are more coming all the time. And I would commend these to you as a reference for a way to build your systems. Now, we talked about the range of markets. Let's just look at those for a moment. As you well know, many ARM products are used in devices that have screens. Big screens on your DTVs, little screens on your cell phones, and everything in between. This is where the Cortex-A series of products typically gets used. And it's quite a big market. By 2015, we expect it to be about $4 billion total units in the market. Quite a lot of opportunity, you might say. And that's true. But compared to the real-time market, it's actually quite a small market. The real-time market's much bigger. It's an 11 billion unit market by 2015. This is things like baseband, disk drives, Wi-Fi, automotive, things that need very fast response time. It's quite a diverse market. But it shares the need for quick interrupt time and quick response. And this typically is where the Cortex-R series fits in. And as I said, it's a pretty big market. But even at 11 billion units, that's a small market compared to the microcontroller market. Some say this is the unsexy part of the market, but I think this is a really interesting part because it is so diverse. This is predicted to be a huge market by 2015, at least 19 billion units. And to me, this is where the Internet of Things comes in, and this is where I think we will see a huge range of options and a huge amount of innovation as we move forwards, creating products today we haven't imagined, and I think we will see ARM technology being used in many of these products. And when you put that together, the opportunity for you with ARM is quite huge. If we look back over the recent years, up until the end of last year, there were approximately 25 billion ARM chips in total having been made over the 20 years that ARM has been in existence. In the last 12 months, you, our partners, have manufactured 7 billion ARM cores. Now that's an interesting number, because last month it was reported as well that there happened to be 7 billion people in the world. So for every person in the world, you made one ARM chip. I think that's a pretty staggering achievement. And I think you can see that the total continues to grow, and we expect by 2020 there will be over 150 billion units in circulation. These are huge numbers. And while I'm very pleased about that, of course, my message to you, this is your opportunity. Now, I said that ARM's mission is to drive our roadmap forwards. We take that responsibility pretty seriously. And over the last, even in this last quarter, we have made 6 significant announcements. And I'm just going to go through those now. But before I do, let's just talk about Cortex-A15 for a moment. Cortex-A15 is ARM's highest performant part. It's our newest part. It's getting a lot of traction. A lot of partners are designing with it. The first partners have got this device in fab to make engineering samples. Many people are working on this technology, and we expect that the first products using this technology will come out towards the end of next year, and realistically volume starting in 2013. It's a great product, and I think it will enable a new range at the top end of the smartphone world. But building on Cortex-A15, we've recently used Cortex-A15 as a development vehicle for process technology. So ARM, TSMC, and Cadence actually have worked together to tape out a 20 nanometer fully functional Cortex-A15. It's currently in fab here in this city, and it will come out, I guess, at the beginning of next year. Now this is, I think, quite an achievement, because this shows that by working on the very latest process technology available, ARM can get chips, prototypes, into fab. It shows for TSMC that their process can be used to build very complex logic functions. And for Cadence and the other EDA companies, it shows that together we can create the flows necessary for this very latest complex technology. And that is the way to work as we go forward in partnership to solve these very tough technical challenges. I think it's a pretty exciting proof of concept. Of course, most people building Cortex-A15 are not building a 20 nanometer, but they will be in the future, and we have to do that work now. So the other couple of announcements are based around energy efficiency. ARM is committed to pushing forwards ever greater energy efficiency. The Cortex-A7 MP core, coupled with big. LITTLE processing, and let me tell you about that. So firstly, Cortex-A7 MP core. It's ARM's latest product. It's not our highest performance product, but it's our most energy efficient product. It's about 5 times the energy efficiency of Cortex-A8, which is what is powering many of the smartphones in your pocket right now. It'll be about 1/5 of the size of that Cortex-A8 when it's built on 28 nanometer technology. And so we feel very strongly that this enables a new breed of very low-cost, high-performance smartphones. As we look forward a few years from now, you will be carrying higher performance smartphones, probably based on Cortex-A15. But the sort of smartphones that you are very proud of and are carrying around today will become low-end smartphones in much higher volume in developing markets. And for that to be possible, the cost needs to go down. And this is one part of bringing the cost down. And so I believe this product will enable a new generation of low-cost smartphones in the future. So Cortex-A7 is a pretty interesting product in its own right. However, when you couple it with Cortex-A15, I think we have a much more interesting concept. We're calling this concept big. LITTLE processing. And as you might imagine, the solution is a combination of a big core, in this case Cortex-A15, and a little core, in this case Cortex-A7. And the idea here, both of these cores look identical to the software. So the software can switch very quickly and very simply between these two processing elements. And so the software will be using the correct core for the task in hand at any one time. So to give you an example, right now, all your cell phones are on standby. They're not doing very much at all. In this world, those would all be running on Cortex-A7. In the break, you'll turn them on and download your emails. That's fine. That'll still be done on Cortex-A7 because that's a perfectly competent core to do that. But then you might want to watch a video, get some YouTube down, or play some games. And at that point, your smartphone will switch automatically to Cortex-A15. You won't know it. It will be invisible to you. But suddenly you will have an incredibly high-performance handset in your hand. And then you'll come back to listen to Pete after the break, and you'll be back running on Cortex-A7. And so I think you can see that this technology allows an enormous range of dynamic performance, very simply, offering you handsets with incredibly high performance and incredibly long battery life, because most of the time, to be honest, you'll be sitting there running with Cortex-A7 as the perfectly useful processor.